And we are Strawberry Moon Live. It has finally peeked over the trees. Now completely in sight. Hello, mermaid. I am... Oh, hello, Richard. I am in the garden, and I'm watching the sunset where you are. Oh, this is where I am in Nola. Yeah, it is dark right now where I am. And the sunset where you are. Oh, hey, Nana. Great to see you. Hey, Lori Loves and Lori D are both here. Yeah, so you see, mermaid, that is a cypress tree that's a cypress tree that's very old from the 1800s. And that is the moon that's spooky. So it's like an old swamp tree. It's kind of spooky looking. Yeah. Good to see you, Richard. By the way, it's nice to see you also. And so we are observing the moon, and it is very big. Very big. You can see. Yes, Saw. It's a perfect circle. Perfect circle. Yes, UAP. It's a full moon of cheese. Yeah. So, yeah, that is it right there, and you can see the contrast of the dark night and the moon. It is very cool. And here's a view of it from some kind of a woodsier view of it. See, those are some of the taller plants. And you kind of see it as it peeks through, similar to like a sunrise. Right. And let's see, look how bright it is. Just like when we see the sunrise, it's the moonrise. Scared. Okay. Scared. Scared. Thank you, chat, for the blessing. Thanks. I was going to try to deal with it, and the sneeze just came out of nowhere. Yeah. Yeah, and the natives in the United States used to use this moon as a way to find to get the strawberries. They would harvest wild strawberries, and they would use this moon to tell the time to do it. Yes, exactly, UAP. Right. Everyone is mourning Oliver Tree badly. Yeah, rest in peace to Oliver Tree. And people are celebrating his birthday today. And that is awesome. People are doing scooters and having festivals, and that's great to do that in his memory. Oh, glad that you like it, Saw. Oh, yeah, I'm sure that would have caused a sonic atomic boom. Yeah. Oh, yeah, my pleasure, mermaid. You got the awesome, amazing bangs that he had. You know, you carry on his legacy, and bangs are a cool hairstyle. That was my mom's signature look, back in the past. So, yeah, it's cool that he had that and other people are getting that type of style. That's awesome. Oh, Lori, they didn't get the memo. Well, they must really think that there's some VIP strawberries. That's what they must think of themselves. Yeah. I like it when things don't get the memo. But the okra got the memo because the okra is doing great right now. And it's doing its blooming. And also, there's another okra flower that bloomed earlier. And so the okra, you could even call it the okra moon. Raid said, we still think about this joke. This is how awful his death has been. He joked, a lot of people think it's a joke, but it sinks in more every day. Yeah. Sinks in more every day. Yeah. Yeah, every day, it just like the realization of what really is going on just takes hold. I definitely agree. Yeah, the Oliver Okra moon. Yeah. By the way, see, these are the bug nets on the okra. It's just, it's like a fun fact. And there's one that bloomed earlier. And there's the moon. Oh, yeah, I'm very good at... I see cows jump over the moon frequently, so we're going to definitely let y'all know if we see that. Nan, Oliver Tree is this musician. He's an artist. He was very famous. And he died in a tragic accident where two helicopters collided, and his helicopter crashed into a lithium energy car lot, and he got even more burnt, unfortunately. So he was like Michael Jackson or Elvis of this time period. Yeah. Oh, salute to you, Commander. Brig, it's great to see you. Great to see you, as always. Oh, understood, Nan. Thank you. Yeah, Hollywood is evil, definitely. Yeah. This is an area I like to hang out at sometimes. And, the moon, like over in the side of the house is pretty cool. And the moon's not like up yet where you can see it, but like in this region at nighttime, I like to hang out over here. Okay. So, like, for instance, look at that. Look at that star, how clear it is. And it's kind of like a Mexican-looking architecture right there, Spanish. I always thought it was cool to look at it like that. It's like a fortress. It's a California style, of course, from, the 50s, 40s, or whatever it was. Way before the 40s, like the 1900s. And usually the moon would be up here, but it's not quite there yet. So going back to a regular spot. But anyway, that's a cool area to, like, when the moon goes in that part, it looks really cool in that alley. And it looks very nice. As it, like, touches the houses and stuff. I've been making Earl Grey black tea, lavender flowers and half, and sativa in the mornings. Rest in peace from the gal who played Lilo from Disney. Was also 30 cam out, and she had drug homeless. Well, I'm going to enjoy this and your community, your commentary, while I take real quick and not feel okay. Understood, Mermaid. Well, we are glad to be here, and basically, oh, hello, Shelly. Yeah, it is very beautiful. Yeah, we could see the house. And, the nature, it's so enchanting how you have this swamp, the nice swamp and the forest and the city is all nice and quiet. And there's these frogs, shouts of the frogs, and different things coming out. And of course, there's going to be the other things lurking in the shadows, possibly like the different colors, those different entities maybe that like to roam around. But mostly it's going to be just the crickets and flying things. Yeah, and during the moon was used a lot. The moon was used a lot for harvesting and for telling about things in nature. The natives that were here used it for that very purpose. And I've tried the sleepy time tea. It's very good. So it is very cool to see that, as this historical event occurred, because the natives would go and pick their strawberries, wild strawberries in the fields, at night, during the day. They would choose this time to do it. Now, the buck moon is cool because that's when the bucks are either ready or they drop their antlers, something like that, or they grow their antlers. It might be, I'm getting that mixed up, but that's pretty cool. And there's the wolf moon. And I really like something Lori and I both like is the indigenous culture. It's very fascinating. I've studied it, growing up, and everybody has. But yeah, that's very cool, the spiritualism about it. And now we have this place where we can also see what's going on and observe the traditions that other people that were here used to have. Like I tell y'all about these plants over here, like these were used by them for all kinds of things. Now it's just a random weed that grows everywhere. But so everything that grows was used by them at one time. Yeah, the herb nerds. Shout out to the herb nerds. I take Kava Kava Tinctura when school is in session. Have take the week off, 3 weeks to give the liver a rest. And Lori says, I have 3 orange crate boxes filled with jars of herbs. And I make medical teas from herbs. My great great grandmother did that. She had herbal remedies, and she used cobwebs for, like in the form of bandages. So I believe, that stuff is still important and good to use. Tea is very important. One time I had a tea blog, but now I do YouTube stuff. But yeah, the thing with tea is that it's very good for the body. It has things in it that would help the body. It could help people lose weight. It could help people maintain a healthy body. Hypothetically, when I say hypothetically, people do their own research. It's kind of like a legal disclaimer, but no, technically, there's chemicals and stuff in it that is good for the body and overall health in general. And it does give people energy without like a crash. Coffee is good too, and it's important. I'd say people would use more than tea, but the tea gives you the energy without the crashing part. But if people had coffee crashes, but the tea would be also good to have at some points. And it started when there is a boiling pot of water, and this person in China observed the boiling water and the leaves in it, and he decided to drink it, and he thought it was pretty good. So that's where the green tea comes from. They had these leaves. I've had Chinese green tea. It's very good, So, and the different teas are different things. The black tea from India, I'd say, has a nice dark orange color to it naturally. I usually like to have tea that's without anything in it. But a lot of people, which I do it too, especially with Irish tea, is put cream and sugar and all kinds of stuff in it that makes it taste really good. So either way, it's very good. A nice, to have, along with some biscuits or whatever. They would have in like the United Kingdom and those type of countries. They have afternoon tea. And I was trying to seek everything herbal in it that could be absorbed. So that's what I did. Now, what I would do is I would put lemon in it. Even if it was tea that didn't have sugar and stuff, I would always put lemons in it. And it was just very good. It was very good. And I was even... Scones, yes. Thank you, Shelly. I also did iced tea. I did like an iced tea tutorial where I created the black tea and I put a lot of ice in it so it would become iced tea, and it's very delicious. Very delish. So there's some tea from Darjeeling, India. It's a type of black tea that's exotic in the sense that it's blended differently, and you can tell the different tastes. And there's Earl Grey, which is a classic one, and there's also Lady Grey. Lady Grey is a lighter version of Earl Grey. There's the English, breakfast, and the Irish breakfast. The Irish breakfast is my favorite one, but the English breakfast one is good too. I used to spread tea amongst my friends, and they thought it was interesting. And a lot of people like, iced tea. You could get it from the grocery store or whatever by, they have drinks already pre-made with iced tea in it. But like the type of tea you make on a kettle or whatever is also good too. I make a special tea, Lori says, for my husband to help him when his kidney disease got bad. It helped him so much. Well, that's very good. Oh, Lori, that ingredient is essential for tea, okay? It's essential for a tea to have that in there, because for the black tea to have that, it gives it, and that's where a lot of the health benefits come from. Yeah. And tea was from China and Asia, and they were obsessed with it. It was like a drug to them. Hello, Jamie. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Rubios. Yes. Thank you, Shelly. Also that. There's all kinds of different types of sugar. Like there's types of artificial and non-artificial sugar that will really help sweeten up things. And I do believe it's important for, the different blends to get recognized, because there's also cinnamon tea, so they did various blends with the same thing. Like they took the black tea leaves, which I've taken leaves before of tea, and I've put them, like, I've brought like tea leaves before. So when you buy tea leaves, you can do is put it in a little bag, and you can put it in water and heat it up. I've made my own recipes with tea. I've made different types of variations of tea with different ingredients, and it's very good. So that was something I thought was fun. And you could buy your own bags and your own leaves and make your own stuff out of it. Also, tea was very valuable in the past, and it was something essential to the culture of, Britain and stuff like that. Lori said, Alien, people feel the high energy showing up for your moon stream. Yeah, definitely. I definitely were observing the strawberry vibes and the strawberry field, the lunar strawberry fields. That'd be a new one. Well, that's good, Nan. Jamie, I don't sweeten it, but most of the time I did sweeten it. So the tea that I drink, I will drink the black tea, and I sometimes want to absorb all the nutrients from it, or not that you don't absorb nutrients when you sweeten it, but I want to have it naturally. And so I drink it naturally, like without any sweetener in it. But I do like sweetener, and I do like cream and milk and stuff in it, and it's very good with that. Irish tea is my favorite one with the sweetener and stuff in it. Oh, Nan, very good taste. Yeah, and the Chinese tea, it'll have a panda on it, and it's just really authentic. It's as if you were to dip the ancient green leaves into a boiling hot cup of water, because that's what it'll taste like. It's real refreshing, when it's mixed together. And as I said, coffee, especially in America, they want to separate themselves from England, and I guess it was more powerful, I suppose, or whatever, and they separated themselves and have the coffee. And coffee is very effective. Everybody uses it, and it keeps people awake. But the tea is also one that's nice as well to do. And it seems like more of a smoother transition with caffeine, but it does have caffeine in it, and it does work well. So I would say my favorite is Earl Grey. And something about it, when I have tea, at least, it just seems ancient. It seems, from a long time ago. It's like stepping into the past, like a time machine. Oh, hello, Anablibo Do. Oh, so a Japanese sencha tea is very good. I've done studies about that tea, and another thing about tea that I'm overlooking is the tea sets. There's all kinds of different tea sets that are all over the place, and the Japanese ones are very cool. The Japanese style is very simplistic, and I like it. And you have these little cups, and you have these, and, well, somebody's having a party or something, but whatever, but shout out to them. And I'll repeat myself. So you have these little tea cups, and there's these other types of teas, that they have over there. It's very simplistic and very nice and well designed and smooth. Yeah, sencha is green tea. Yeah, that is true. And with sencha, it is a very cool design. It's a very nice tea. The way the Japanese make it. And I think that's another one that's good for the body and mind that they made. Jamie says, we went to war over the tax for tea. Now we get tax morning, noon, and night, so they can give it away. Oh, I know, Jamie. It's kind of funny. They went and rebelled against the crown because of taxation, and then they got taxed beyond comprehension. Yeah. Now I was reading that the king was going to give the Americans what they wanted, but they insisted on breaking away anyway. I guess the bottom line was they want to be their own country, which is understandable. And they're coming up with reasons to do it. But yeah, like the taxation is, that is kind of funny, the way it works. Yeah. And Lori said, when I saw the Naruto path decades ago, they told me to drink sencha tea, but I'm not always good about doing that. Hilarious. A shout out to Doe. Hello, Justo. Yeah, so, and on this show we have people internationally, and I like the Eastern cultures and the Asian cultures. They're very fascinating to me, and we've talked about various different, we've had different people that are here, and we've talked about before I haven't talked about this before, but there's Turkish coffee, and their coffee is very different, where they have all the grinds in it, all in the coffee, and the rest of it floats to the top. And usually they put it in this hot thing. Armenia also has the same method too, I think, with coffee. And they put it in this box, the sandbox, and it just kind of floats up. And it foams. And there's machines that are able to produce it. And the Turkish designs on their coffee cups and their silverware and things like that are very fascinating too. So each culture had Each culture had their own interesting twist to how they made their designs. One of my favorite types of coffee, or china, for tea, whatever, is the dragon. I like the dragon designs they put on them. And I also like the regular china, too, that people usually would have for tea or coffee. So yeah, it's very interesting to see the different cultures and how they made their own. Yeah, such a nice moon, definitely. Like 1,000 years ago, people that were indigenous to this place would be picking wild strawberries, and now we're picking okra. So, interesting transition. It is something that I like is besides different types of coffees that could be made, I drink it dark or with cream and sugar in it. Coffee is more suited with cream and sugar in it, I think, because there's teas that can get away with it. Jamie said, when I first saw it on the ocean, it looked like something from prehistoric days, if that makes sense. Oh, no, I understand what you mean. That's the vibes that I get from this place and from this yard sometimes. Yeah, I mean, being on the sea like that and seeing it in that way had to be incredible. Like being in like a time machine or in a movie or something like that. Oh, yeah, definitely. It's like mythology. Oh, it was huge. Oh, I'm sure it was gigantic. It probably looked like it was fake. Like it looked like something from out of an art piece. Because on the sea, the moon probably looks much larger than it does here. But right now it looks very large, but on the sea it looks even different looking. Oh yeah, Doe. The night sounds are perfect. Love that sound. Yeah. Yeah, this is the crickets and the different insects that are chirping. And fireflies are not seen, but when the power goes out during hurricanes, I see them though. I don't know why that is, but so they exist here, but for some reason I don't see them unless some outage happens. I see you, Duke. Duke's the one that got me into okra, by the way, because he likes growing things and he was telling me about it, and I knew that they had that here. I'm like, we got to grow it here. Yeah, shout out to the Leos. It's a full moon in Capricorn. Mercury went to retrograde today, and Jupiter is in Leo today. Not sure what that last means. Wild energy tonight. Yeah. I'll have we moon calendar that tells me the celestial stuff. Well, that's good to know the celestial stuff. It's good to know. Sometimes I'll think of this place in different time periods. Like sometimes to me it reminds me of medieval times. Other times it reminds me of like before that or after that. Because I could just like stage different time periods here. Yeah, okra is the kind, yeah. And Duke, I was saying before that the natives here used to harvest strawberries during this moon, but now it's okra. Yeah, the word okra itself is very fascinating. It can have so many different meanings, like vibes it could invoke. Yeah, the little pods. Yeah. Okay. That was me for a second. I meant to press this. All right. Those are protective nets, and there's okra inside of those nets, and there's more growing over here. And he likes it fried. Yeah, he likes it fried. Yeah, everybody likes it fried. Yeah, fried okra is very delicious. I agree. The smaller okras are much more sweeter than the bigger ones. Yeah, that is true, Duke. That is true. I ate it slimy, and I didn't mind it though. But Duke is correct. The pickled are fried. If you eat it pickled or fried, it won't be slimy. But the slime doesn't taste bad. It's good. It has a nice texture to it, in my opinion, though. But I'm a nutty alien from another world. Let's see if there's any critters lurking. I have not heard anything so far, but we'll see. By the way, this is the lots of squash. You know, and they're growing, you know, and over there's the pumpkins. Okay, so look at that star. Probably a planet. And then there's that one. And then there's the moon just chilling. Yeah, it's the choo-choo. I'm scared. They are so indeed. Absolutely. This is a scene I gotta capture. Like this is like being in the middle of the jungle somewhere. Although like my area is similar to Vietnam, and there's people that like were from Vietnam that live in my region because they moved here during the war, and sometimes they did reenactments here over that, or because it looks so similar to it. In my opinion, I've not been there, but I mean I've seen pictures of it though. Yes, gumbo too. Correct. Yes, that's true, Jamie. Yeah. All right, let's see if there's any critters around. This is the Jurassic region of the yard. Yeah, so far it is quiet. Oh yeah, Bigfoot's gonna get me. Yeah, scared. Look how big it's getting. Really big. That's like a Nephilim, right there. It's almost like the Jack and the Beanstalk. All the way up there. Oh, okay, Lori, great, great. All right, so in this part, oh, that's very interesting, Duke. You know, that's a good idea. So far, right now, there's no critters moving about at the moment. There must be in other regions. They're out, but they're not here in this part. Oh, hilarious, Lori. Yeah. Duke said to Lori, Bigfoot away too. Yeah, this is one of the darkest regions. Yeah. Almost looks like a vampire moon right now. Oh, that's so cool. You saw the a baby deer. That is awesome. Oh, they've been watching since you're a wee tot. Scared? Look at that. That's a planet or a star up close. That's how dark it is here. It's like you can see everything. You know, you could see everything clear as day. Hey, Todd. Good evening. Okay, that is a pine tree right there. Oh, you summoned Zero. Oh yeah, facts, facts. All right, that's a pine tree over there, and that's the moon from another angle. Yes, evergreen trees. That's very hot, Todd. Stay cool. Wow. Thanks for the update. Broiled toad. Oh, broiled Todd. That's what he said. Hilarious. Oh, I think it's going to be incredibly hot. It's going to be like an oven. Well, hopefully, Todd, I see what you're saying. I hopefully they can make peace, or get the situation resolved. As I was seeing about that they're going to agree to not fire anymore. So we'll see how that goes. If there could be negotiations about it. From what I know, they're trying to get out of the Iran thing, or they're making peace, or so they're coming to some sort of agreement or something. I'm not too sure. And but I that's what I thought I saw over the weekend. That was going to happen. Mermaid said, we keep trying to make peace, and the peace doesn't happen. There are literally no negotiating with terrorists. Okay, Mermaid, thank you for your take on that. Yeah. You see, America's trying to be the bigger sport here, But I understand what you're saying, Mermaid. Thank you. And Todd said, U.S. military responded with drones are being shot at the tanker, and Iran is now claiming once again the Strait of Hamza is theirs. Yeah, you see, it's just this never-ending loop conflict. They're not going to allow us to... Wait, it seems like a never-ending conflict with Iran. Like, if one thing looks like it's straightened out, then something else happens. Yeah. Duke said it was 67 degrees yesterday and today in Utah mountains. Lori said, all bunch of lies, smoke and mirrors. I want apolitical and way less stress. Right. Yeah. Lori, I was in political stuff in the beginning, and I switched to trial stuff and to true crime things. I just felt that it united people more, and people of different races and groups could be united. I don't really... I'm into politics and we do political commentary here, but I'm more into trials because of the issues. Yeah. And shout out to Mermaid and chat. Very cool. Definitely want a peaceful world where we don't have a bunch of problems happening. Yeah. Oh, understood, Mermaid. So, Todd, those are my thoughts about it. It's just it seems like a loop. Just an endless loop. Yeah, definitely. disheartening. Oh, they both sides make plenty of money from it. You know, both of them do. Amen, mermaid. Yeah. Right, exactly, mermaid. That's a very good point. Yeah, definitely repent. Amen. Oh yeah, Miss C, it did, and you still made it. You know, it's very bright right now, brighter than a usual moon. But yeah, we did see it earlier when it was coming up. Yeah, we saw it. Yeah, I mean, I know about the Israel stuff where I'm not Jewish, but there's like a summer camp I went to that was from them, and I went there, so I know all about these things going on. I knew Israeli soldiers too. I know the perspective of both sides. Yeah, it's a very complex situation. Yeah, they taught me a lot, you know, how to swim and all kinds of different things, but you know, it's I do think it is good to humanize people at some point, and you know that we're all people, and a lot of politics can put people in boxes like chess. You put one side is yellow, I mean one side's white, one side's black. So I do think chess also is a problem too. All right, thank you. Thanks, Lori. Duke said, "I'm not Jewish, but I feel Jewish." Yeah. So yeah, I'm familiar with it. I knew Israel soldiers. I knew some different people that were there. It was an interesting experience. Yeah. Yes, he was mermaid. Absolutely. Yes, he was. And let's see, imagine politics was still not in the heads of we people, but in bed. I took so different, and I think you know what I mean. The war. I mean, yes, Jamie, I understand. You definitely understand that war is not a good thing to do. Yeah. Oh yeah, Lori Claude. Yeah, definitely. All right. Todd said, "I can't wait for the Charlie Kirk murder trial to begin. I'm looking for the guy to get convicted of murder." Yeah. There's so many conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk and about who took him out or not. And they're saying the bullet doesn't match what the guy had. But yeah, I hope he gets convicted for, the sake of justice. Oh, yeah, I agree with you, Todd. It's a slow moving process, but we'll eventually see the trial happen. Best friend is a rabbi. And Mermaid said, Duke Rai Jews are most persecuted. They definitely have been persecuted and throughout history, definitely. Very much. I'd say the most. I agree. Yeah. They're very smart, and I learned a lot of things from them. And yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And nothing wrong with talking about it, and we're all gonna have different opinions, and it's good to see what the others, people. Yeah. Oh, Todd, I will. I'll carry it live when it goes live. Yeah, I'll absolutely do that. I one of my friends who's a YouTuber he was friends with Charlie Kirk, and I was involved in my earlier days of YouTube. I'm involved with it a little bit, not as much as I used to be, but I'm still involved with political things on YouTube. But I was involved with it in my beginning, very much so. So I take it very seriously with the Charlie Kirk. Yeah, because politics is, my foundation. Guys, it's about the Jews, Christians, 10 times more persecuted. I think both of them are persecuted. You know, well, everybody's been persecuted throughout time, but I think they both have. And yeah, it's good to take a break with peace of mind. Now, I don't have where the statistics are on front of me, but that is from my observation about the situation. Yeah. Todd, I do both. Now, of course, with the community that we have here in the spaceship, it would be approached with ease because there's lots of people with different political and religious things who, when I integrated with the trial group, there were so many different people that were different opinions mixed together. So the way I do political things, Todd, I do it carefully, and it works out well. So yes, I do agree with you about it. And just so everybody can know, there's different opinions on both sides, and we're going to talk about, no one's going to walk on eggshells about anything. But at the end of the day, we will not let politics cause division, but we'll still talk about it because it's something that must be covered, if that makes any sense. But yes, I've talked about it before with my trial people and properly, and it goes well, because they knew me for a long time. But most people in the trial community, I'd say, are more aligned with me than not aligned with me, though. But we talk about politics here. Absolutely. Not as much, but we talk about it. And there's nothing wrong with it. I want freedom of speech, and all kinds of different opinions are allowed here. All right? So, yeah. But Todd, you are correct. Absolutely. I didn't hear about the Supreme Court ruling, but I'll look into it, and that's very interesting. Thank you for letting me know about that. Yeah. James, I'm very well aware of what Lenin did to Russia, and also Chairman Mao in China, and East Germany, Vietnam also. Millions of people. Absolutely. Leon Trotsky, Stalin. I know what you're talking about. The Soviet Union, Marxism. And the Vietnam War was to try to stop the spread of it in Asia. And it was noble of our troops to try to stop that from spreading everywhere. All right, remember he said, my point is that all the evil has nothing to do with me and my bubble. That's why I choose to live, because I'm already going through a lot. I can't imagine growing up in Gaza and being trained to be, terrorists. Had nothing to do with me and should have stopped a long time ago. That's what Mermaid says. And we have to appreciate the fact that this happened going so far, 5,000 years. Okay, let's see. It's not an opinion. Jamie says the Jays are banned and deleted. The Tsar of Russia, and Stalin slaughtered 30 million Christians. There were some Jews that were involved with that, but there were also Russians that were ethnic Russians involved with it too. It wasn't just the Jews. There was also Russians that were involved in the Communist Party as well. Putin was a communist, and he's a blonde, blue-eyed Russian. But I see what you're saying, but as I said, there's also ethnic Russians that were involved with it as well. Then they massacred their own people. Yeah. I'm probably distant cousins with the Tsar of Russia. So, it's something, very, a topic that needs to be talked more, and he was deleted, and he was wrong what happened. Absolutely. Actually, right now, I'm wearing an Orthodox cross right now. But yeah, I definitely think that it was wrong what happened to the family. the Russian royal family. It was more than just there's many people that were involved with it, in my opinion. Okay, I'm buffering. Okay, let's try. I'm back. Okay, I am back. All right. All right. Anyway, so as I was saying before, I think the Soviet Union persecuted Jews too. Karl Marx was anti-Semitic, and I don't think all Jews were involved with the Russian Revolution. I believe it was also ethnic Russians that were involved with it. They wanted to overthrow their czar for various reasons, which was wrong. But I don't think that the Jews were still responsible for all that. But there were Jews that were involved in it. But there's many different races that were involved with that. So, and I don't think every single person of a certain race is responsible for everything. It just yes, some people are, but it doesn't mean everyone is. Oh, hello, Lizard. Good to see you. And I know exactly what you're talking about, but there's people now that are not Jewish at all that believe in communism and atheism, atheistic militant atheism, that are not Jewish at all, that will do those things. So it doesn't matter if they're Jewish or not. It's the ideology that's bad. They leveled all religious places, not just churches. And the thing with Russia is that it was a religious oligarchy, and the state and the church were connected to each other very closely. And although it was wrong what they did, of course, they thought that it was an oppressive regime, but it was not a repressive regime. They're confused. And yeah, it wasn't just churches. It was also all the Muslims, Jews, and Christians were all persecuted by them. They're but you are right. The Christians are persecuted too. And Jesus said we will be persecuted. I mean, right now, over in Nigeria, Christians are being slaughtered everywhere. The Middle Eastern countries are being persecuted. So, yeah, there are Jews that are friends and allies of ours, in my opinion. I don't think that every single one of them is against us. So I think it's more of an ideology than it's an ethnic group's idea. And thank you, Jamie, for sharing your opinion. I appreciate it. Tato, gosh, Oliver Tree would be 33 years old and horrible helicopter accident. It was Satanism Illuminati, it seemed. My mom, hip surgery, moved back July 23rd. It was scheduled for July 10th. The circumstances of Oliver Tree's death is very strange. And he talked about, he seems to have alluded to his death in many songs. And he mentioned about his life and being famous was stressful. All that stuff. And then he passes away in this very strange way. You know, the helicopters collide and then it explodes where lithium car batteries are. It's very strange. Lori said, my ancestors were enslaved, tortured, and slaughtered in the name of Christianity, but I feel it's highly time that we realize that these things are about the human condition in general come together. Yeah, and I believe Christians that did that were misrepresenting their religion. That they didn't practice it correctly by doing that to them. Because I feel that those people were more for political power than believing in Christianity, but they use it as a tool. And that's why I say with like Muslims, I don't think every single Muslim's a terrorist. But there are some Muslims are terrorists. There's like Christianity. It had a history of being bad to people like what you're talking about, Lori. Yeah, exactly. But I don't believe that was Christianity's mission and goal. But I definitely see what you're saying, and you know, and that's true. You know, they did persecute the pagans unjustly. Find a common ground and focus working together in harmony with Mother Earth, and we can move on, everyone ascend. Yeah. He unfortunately went, okay, I think Oliver Tree knew he was going to die, guys, and he talked about it in his music ridiculously, and he unfortunately went out like Buddy Holly and Randy Rhoads, where he was in a horrific helicopter accident, crashed in his smart cars. It's Israeli government, not its people, has the same feels or dynamic with our government. Yeah, Lizard, thank you for your take on that. Yeah. Because it's not the governments are not trustworthy at all. The people are okay, though. Yeah. He was lit up on fire and have no idea if his ashes or how bad it was. I mean, I have ancestors that were persecuted by Christianity too, but I believe it was I'm glad they accepted Christianity though. I believe it was the truth and it was good. Lori said, the pagan, Celtic, Viking, natural, gifted healers and people of the Black Forest. You know, but I believe, like in my opinion, I think Christianity was a good thing. Yeah, they're after me, Todd. They're you know, I'm gonna be caught red-handed on the live stream. And that'll be entertaining for y'all to watch. But yeah, I mean, I'm related to the Vikings and the Celtic people too, but I think Christianity was the best thing that they could have accepted. I do believe the Celtic people and the Vikings did fight each other before Christianity. And I do believe they did things that were not nice. And I do believe the Vikings enslaved people. And they're my ancestors, okay? My ancestors are Vikings and Celts. So I don't think they were the greatest people on earth themselves. But I do believe Christianity united Europe and made it united as one over time. And I'm glad my Viking and Celtic ancestors went to Christianity, in my opinion, though. You know, like I don't, you know, one God's enough for me. Exactly, it was the Romans. And I'm actually Roman. I am part Roman. I'm you know, related to Northern Europe and Southern Europe. So I'm also related to the Romans too. Scared. Hello, Roblox. Hello, Ducky. Thank you, Mermaid. Appreciate it. Hello, Sprout. Mermaid, do what you got to do. I could be related to natives too. If it is, it's very distant. All right, no spamming the chat. All right, you can watch the moon here. Yeah, Lori, absolutely. And it mainly had to do with my Roman ancestors that did that. They crucified people. They I'd say it was more a political thing than it was anything to do with Christianity. But yeah, I'm also Roman too. Just the breaking news: Trump signed executive orders requiring automakers make available cheaper parts and lower auto repair bills. Oh wow, oh, wow. Hopefully that works out. Yeah. Careful not to spam the chat, especially if you're underage. Spam can include sending several messages within a few seconds or several messages within a few moments. Yeah. And Lori, one of the reasons why I chose you, one of the reasons why I recruited you here was because of the Yggdrasil image you have. Because I'm into that stuff because of my ancestors, although I'm a Christian. And I like because I have the Thor hammer. I know it has a name to it, but the Mjolnir, right? But I call it a Thor hammer. And that's what you and I have in common. We both have a fascination with that stuff. So we're on the same page with that. Because my Celtic and we have mutual Celtic and Viking ancestry that we're both interested in. Yeah. And remember, those behind the scenes with the power to manipulate and control want to divide us so they can conquer us easily. Oh, exactly. Exactly. And I believe that, we all, there's some Muslims here that come on the stream sometimes in different hours. And we talk about how, he was telling me, different people had different revelations. And that Muslims usually have the idea of that in general, that different people, which I believe that people in different civilizations are given different messages. But it all was the same truth. Exactly, Mermaid. Not all of them are like that. Just like any other belief, yeah. So, we're people of the book, and then there's, Confucius was a prophet to the Chinese. Buddha was a prophet to Asia. And there's an island somewhere that believes in God, but there's their own unique interpretation of it. So, yeah. That's what I think. And I believe religion and stuff can be used to divide people. For instance, I believe bankers and corporations and stuff and banking families over time, and they have made international banking networks, and they had wars they started, and they had all kinds of things that they did throughout history for make money and turn people against each other, and they didn't want them to have peace. I believe that logic is still there today, so but be careful to not let our differences divide us too much. Yeah. And honestly, I think AI will be the tipping point where it will force our hand and make us challenge how all of our government operates and around the world. The great AI depression is already here. All right. Yes, Todd, that is true. Amen. I hate being a buzzkill, but we all will always, as humans, be warning and brutal to each other. This whole universe is just the way it is, and get your permit. Oh yeah, okay. Thank you for the the bitter truth. We do need it. I do agree with you, Jamie. He is. We have even reached a one-level society, and we are deleting one another. Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm basically related to all of Europe. Like, I'm related to like all the Mediterranean countries and the Northern European countries. My theme is more German or Northern European, but I'm also very Southern European too. So, my ancestors enslaved each other, so I have to get my retribution for myself over it. Yeah. And when we have no idea how long our true human history extends back in time. Yeah. Who really knows how far back it goes? And that's what I believe, that with these humans, over time, they will, we all believe in some sort of creation of some sort, and everyone has their own versions of it. Yeah, we don't know how long the history goes back. Oh, that's awesome, Todd. My whole name is a German tie. My entire name is German. Yeah. But yeah, shout out to you, Todd, of very awesome German people, ancestry. Okay, I'm going to show you all this. Look over here. Another view of the moon. This is the alley I was talking about. All right, let's see. Make sure you catch up on Supreme Court ruling and what's coming. It could be an interesting stream to do, actually. Okay. Thank you, Todd. I'll do that. Did you guys know that Christ said we cannot murder, big time no, but goes on to say hating someone is equally as bad and judged the same for not entrance in paradise? I hated a couple of times. Yeah, that's true. That he does say that. Alien, that's the core of it. Don't let our differences divide us. Recognize our differences, make us stronger, and we can learn from one another. Yes, absolutely, Todd. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Has a huge impact on our civilization, more than people know, and it definitely needs to be covered and talked about. Yeah, and I mean, it certainly can be world changing. A lot of this stuff. The ballot issue was a huge one to allow anyone to late coming on the ballots actually in court. Yeah, that is a big deal. That's been a problem for a while. Wow, that's very good to know. Or he said, I just can't get my spirituality out of a book or put myself in a box. Good discussion, but I'm going to get distracted. Gotta focus on my gear so I can go to church in the wilds. Yeah, you see, nature is a way that, you can connect. I feel connecting with God way better than you can in a church and whatever higher power you believe in. So I believe that is very necessary to do. Jamie says murder equals to hating someone. It's kind of harsh, but might as well get to the people I hate. Kidding, and I'm forgiving of people these days. Yeah, because I think Jesus. You see, it's kind of like the thoughts become your actions. Well, this is what happened. Your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions. So Jesus saw that the thoughts were just as bad as the actions because the actions in your mind eventually can cause a domino effect. And it only hurts ourselves when we hate other people. I love the disembodied voices I hear in the distance. It's like the most unsettling thing ever. Oh, thank you, Moki. Glad you like it. And I believe it's, you know, good to have a balance, because there's righteous anger too. Nana, is very difficult. Very difficult indeed. Yeah, and to give things to God and not take it back. Yeah. And I believe that with the idea of Christianity is like to trust in God when things don't make sense. And there's righteous anger. People have righteous anger, but for righteous anger to not turn to sin. It's just after midnight Eastern. Right now, it's 11:01 Central. Yeah, so I do. That's what I think. The universal concept that, and I believe, my observation that I've been doing of the different. I've been studying a lot of mythologies, like the Norse mythology, and which is, ancestors believed in that. Some of my ancestors believe in that, and the other, basically all of the mythologies my ancestors believed in, and from the different countries. And what happened was, I realized something is where nowadays the ones that oppose Christianity is the. I might do a special show for July 4th, Todd. Yeah, I might at some point during it. Yeah, it's possible. And yeah, the thing with it is that Baal and Moloch are the ones that oppose the Christian God, right? So these pagan gods that existed, they never seem to have challenged the. Usually the thought of it is that they were defeated or something, but I think it's possible that some of these entities may not have been enemies of God, if that makes any sense. But the other entities that are actively still now influencing people to do bad things are the ones throughout time that were not liked. So did not like God. For instance, like Satan, right? Or which is Baal, or in Moloch. So those things are still there today, opposing the Christian God, but the other ones, seemed indifferent about it. So that's something I do wonder if it's not as black and white as we think it is, but definitely Satan is evil. That's something that can't be denied. Yes, they were before Christianity. The Canaanites believed in those gods, and it's believed that those were the demons that we see now. But the other religions that were pagan didn't have those type of entities that were like that. But now, those Baal and Moloch are still being used through Satan and the other type of fallen entities. So that's what I think is, there's good spirits and bad spirits, that exist. And see, Todd said, the huge World Cup upset Morocco, bets the Netherlands in extra and beats extra time. Oh, really? Really? Yes, Jamie, simple as a pimple. It's good versus evil, light versus dark. Yeah. The huge World Cup, so Morocco beats the Netherlands in extra time. Oh, what an unexpected situation to happen. That really is messed up. But I love the World Cup, and I'm looking forward to seeing America versus England. They're going to be playing in Philadelphia on the 4th of July. That's going to be epic. It's the 250th anniversary. Hey, Lemon. I played soccer at certain points when I was little, as I was influenced by other countries, if that makes any sense. But of course, soccer's a popular in America too. But yeah, I like the World Cup. Growing up, it was pretty cool. I like football and the other sports too. But yeah, soccer is interesting to watch. Shout out to Lemon, cool people. Yeah, so the World Cup I've been keeping up with the scores and stuff. And now I'm, interested to see how this American and UK game is going to go. That's going to be big. There was supposed to be an alien abduction, but they got some weather must have happened for them to be postponed. All right, Jamie, thank you we had a very cool conversation, Jamie. Look forward to more. Have a good time. The best time you could have. Thank you for talking to us. Possibly. I have the same plans in the 4th, all depending on where I am and what happens. Oh, nice, Jamie. Good to know. Yeah, and it is very cool to see, how this moon was used by the ancient people when they're going to be picking their strawberries. That's what they did here. And the moon's abnormally bright because it's very close to the Earth. And these situations. Now, let's see, this way. We're checking everything. And so far, I've not seen or heard any of the raccoons or possums. Let's see if we could find some of the kitties, the cats. Let's see. Oh, Moke, it's so cool that, there's a theory that the moon itself is an alien base. Or that it's on the moon itself. That is so cool. Okay, look at that right there. That's Bubbles. That's Bubbles' brother. US-UK game, according to the schedule, hasn't been assigned a game time yet. Oh, okay. Hasn't assigned a game time yet. Shout out to Bubbles. He is a cool kitty. He's cleaning himself. Let's see, is he not in there? And let's see. So shout out to Bubbles, and he's cleaning himself. Let's go back to the moon. Todd says the only 4th of July game that's scheduled now is Canada's game on 1 p.m. Eastern. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, you see, there's conspiracy theories about the moon, and one of the conspiracy theories is that the moon is an alien base. And the alien base is a very interesting theory because it's theory that the moon itself is this giant thing that on the dark side of the moon, there's aliens on them. And the aliens told us when we went there to not come back. The other theory is that the entire moon itself is a base. So that is another thing that is quite fascinating. So yeah, many different conspiracy theories about what the moon is exactly. There's always theories about aliens on the moon. There's many different theories about that over time. So, and the lunar surface is very ambient. I did a story before a couple years ago about aliens on the moon, which is a fun story to do. Are y'all able to see me or hear me? I'm just curious. Okay, maybe it went out. Okay, thanks, Grace. I thought for a second I may have lost everybody, so thanks. All right, so right here we have this another scene of the moon that we actually look at through the trees now. The U.S. faces Bosnia in the first official World Cup schedule in Canada game in Prague's game at 5 p.m. My pleasure, Nan. Glad that you enjoyed it. It is a cool scene. I love being, like, before I would do the newer garden live streams that we do now, I used to be out here at night around this time. And I used to look at the moon through the trees. Now, and you know, the morning crew has seen the moon at night. I mean, has seen the sun come up through the trees. And this is the moon coming through the trees. And Todd has a question for Moki. Did you see that? The U.S. faces Bosnia on the first of the official World Cup schedule, and Canada game at 1 p.m. at 5 p.m. Yeah, we will see. And thank you, Todd, for letting her know that. Thank you for the link. Official World Cup schedule. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, that is the moon peaking in the background. It's and Mr. Moon is just, you know, in the dark forest. You have this moon that likes to shine out. Yeah, very dark forest. And yeah. I was learning recently about dwarves and elves and things like that, and basically the dwarves would make different jewelry and things for and armor. They would make weapons and mythological weapons and things like that. Okay, Todd, good night to you. Nice talking to you. Very good conversation. That's what we were seeing, you know, that they made weapons and supernatural things for the gods and for people. So what's their strawberry moon? I haven't checked on the news recently. Okay, I'll explain. So let's go out here and I'll explain, Lemon, what this is. All right, this is the moon. This is the strawberry moon. It's extremely bright, brighter than a regular moon. And when the moon rises, it gives off a very crazy looking color, kind of like a reddish color. And the reason what the strawberry moon is that in the United States, in America, before America was a country, it was the indigenous people and natives that were here. They would have different moon cycles, and they would name them different things, and we kept the tradition. So this is called a strawberry moon. So 1,000 years ago, 800 years ago, right? You would have, or 3 or 400 years ago, you'd have natives, indigenous people that were here, and they used to pick wild strawberries during this moon. So when this moon cycle got like this, they knew that their strawberries were ready to be picked, and they're wild strawberries. And I was saying earlier, we have okra growing, and I'm picking the okra and harvesting things. So I'm using the same concept, but harvesting a different type of fruit. So that is the information about the strawberry moon. And these are the bug nets. That is a flower that sprouted today. It's pretty cool. Not sprouted, but bloomed. Okay. So that's what the strawberry moon is. There's the hunter's moon. There's the wolf's moon. There's the buck moon. There's all kinds of different moons here. Moki says, yes, Todd, thank you. Yeah. So, so Lemon, that is, explanation about the, what the moon is exactly. So when it goes, it started over there by that cypress swamp tree. It's kind of scary. Then it kind of went up that way. And yeah, it's a very majestic site, and it's very good with positive vibes. And there are, for instance, there's a star right there. You could see, because it's very clear. Yeah, but on the moon, there's allegedly an alien base. And when they walked on the moon, it felt like tin. It made like an echoing noise. So yeah, it's, during the depth trial, I saw my first blood moon without it being cloudy, and I was around right here, and I took the video of it from different angles. This is one of the spots. And I did a live stream when the last blood moon happened. It was like at 5 a.m. or something. Yeah, you see, the blood moon, when you're watching a blood moon happen, which is something different, it's when the moon turns like a blood red. At first you think it's not going to happen. Or that's with me. I think it's not going to happen. And then eventually it just turns more and more weird looking, and then it gets dark. Like a shadow is over it. And that is what I believe about it, that it gets dark and then it turns like a dark red color. It almost looks fake. Like it looks like something just hanging out there. Like a a claymation thing. So yeah, but it's basically it's a seasonal thing. It has to do with summer. You had hunters and you had gatherers and you had different people that were trying to, survive and do things for their own sake of mind and peace. And when the moon's like right by the horizon, it'll turn like a weird orange color, and kind of like red, like a strawberry. When the moon's closer to the horizon, one time I saw the moon when it was winter time around January. Every single tree had no leaves on them. And I was able to see the horizon all the way like across. I was on the bench swing, which doesn't really like the thing about the bench swing is that the big tree fell on it, and the tree eventually came back up, but it just wasn't really repaired. So my reference is this thing right here. It's kind of where some things are being stored, but there is something. You see, that's the bench swing I'm talking about. I used to use it, all the time. Now I looked that direction from sitting there, and I could see the horizon perfectly without any tree, and that way. When I did that, I was able to see the moon from the horizon. It was very interesting. So what I saw was, it was very, very purple looking. Because, they see the sky is not black. It's really like dark purple. So yeah, I got to actually see the dark purple. And the moon was really cool looking. It was a really dark, like red or orange color as it was creeping up through the trees. The trees that had no leaves on them. So that was a rare, cool experience because I saw it like directly, like a bird's eye view of the not bird's eye, but like there's like something called a shotgun house where you could just shoot like a shotgun through it. That's what it's called, but it's kind of like that. Like you could just like be like right by the horizon. So yeah, when it starts off, it gets kind of like an orangey color. Then it gets more white as it goes up in the sky. But it's very bright because of the strawberry moon. It's a different lunar cycle. Oh, Lemon says, this happened to me to March 3rd. We had a blood moon lunar eclipse. Yeah. So y'all had it over there too. Okay. Yeah, there's mythologies surrounded by the blood moon. Like it was like an omen to certain people. And also a solar eclipse. I've had a solar eclipse happen to me before. And the solar eclipse was the one with the sun. It was really weird. It was, the sun became weird and like dark. And it's like it got dim. And it felt kind of strange. And that was a solar eclipse. And Lemon said, I have photos, but unfortunately the phone has a potato for a camera. Oh, okay. Yeah, I took videos and pictures of it, and it came out pretty well. But where I am, although I think where you are, it's probably good lighting to take, probably better lighting than here to take a video or picture of it. But where I am, I'm able to isolate the lighting. And you can look like you're in the middle of nowhere without being in the middle of nowhere. So mine come out very well. Yeah, so the conspiracy theories are the dark side of the moon, specifically, either the whole moon itself is an alien base or just the dark side of the moon. We can't really see. There are other planets out there that have like 4 or 5 moons. It's crazy to think about. And if we had multiple moons, it would look really interesting, wouldn't it? It would be a bunch of different lights in the sky. And there's also the harvest moon. When people are harvesting, like in the fall, like that's when all the stuff is ready. Yeah, so like one of my favorite hobbies was watching the moon come up in different cycles, especially the full moon, because it's nice to, definitely it's ambient and it looks spooky looking. Yeah. And I like nature, and there was this time where the moon, it'll become a new moon where you can't even see it, or a crescent moon. I do like the crescent moon too. I think the crescent moon has a very peaceful aura to it, and it is a symbol of sleep. Okay. Oh, seeing, and also lemon, this is the different squash plants. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, it looks like there's still some elderberry flowers growing there. Yeah, now I hear a lot of crickets and some other things, but I don't really see any raccoons or possums, but they might come out a little bit later, or they may be doing another region right now. And those are those bigger plants right there that are nice. Lemon, do you have certain teas over there that are unique, or like, do y'all drink tea where you are often, or because different? We were just talking about tea earlier, and coffee's the main thing over here. I like both. Yeah, and this is the strawberry moon. Took a little bit for it to come up over the edge, but it came up over the edge. And yeah, I mean, it is. The The silver is the symbol of the moon. Something that I'm aware of is that its symbol is silver. And like silver has like a glow to it in the light, similar to the moon, and gold would be the sun. You know. Something I do see in these skies a lot is the shooting stars. I see them all the time. It'll be it'll streak across the sky. I've talked about the mythology of Jinn before, and there were legends that the shooting stars were keeping the bad ones out of the heavens by shooting them down with the shooting stars. That was interesting type of imagery there. But yeah, the shooting star, the comet, I mean the meteorite. It has like a streak of copper and a couple different things in it, so it has a lot of different colors in it that irradiate and burn as it goes out before it hits the ground. And I've actually seen meteorites down in the soil here before. I've dug I've seen like a crater and I'll see the little thing there. So, and they're usually magnetic, apparently. I don't know if they're all magnetic, but they usually are magnetic. And that is something that I thought was quite fascinating about them. Yeah, and I've seen comets before too. I saw the green comet, I was a couple of days late for it. And then I saw it streak slowly across the sky and it was green. And I was like, wow, like I was at the right place at the right moment. Because I was supposed to see it in the morning and I didn't see it. And then I eventually saw it streak across the sky. I was like, whoa, that's cool. Yeah, like it was at the horizon right there. And I saw it just streak. Not just now, but I saw it in the past. The green thing was that direction. Now, sometimes on these lives, I'll see UFOs. Like over in this tree, right? This region. I'll see a star or a planet, and then it just sort of drifts away upward and vanishes, like it's going to another dimension or something. Or I'll see it fly around that region above the tree. And over there, I'll see one in the sky, and it'll blink. And it goes away. So we have seen them. So we have seen them on these streams before, which is quite interesting. It's believed that the moon can make some people crazy. Go, alien, how is that? There's the lunar moon, where the full moon, affects the magnetic fields. It was believed it had supernatural powers too back in the past, and it was able to change people's minds or make them a little bit nutty or do very bad things. That's where the werewolf thing comes from, where the werewolf was under the full moon because they thought it made people crazy. So that's where where loony comes from, like Looney Tunes. Yeah, so the moon definitely has mysteriousness to it and has a lot of influence over our planet. A lot of the way the moon and the sun work is similar to a Tesla coil. And Tesla did a lot of work on the Tesla coil, and he mapped his idea based off of that, of like the way the Earth works. If there are telescopes that are able to capture the moon very closely, it sees Saturn behind it. Saturn has to do with a lot of the different conspiracy theories because the ring of Saturn is the crown, and it's believed that the ring of Saturn is the crown that, these different occultic people have imagery of. But with the telescopes and stuff, it's cool to see, which is not telescopes, it's a phone, but it's cool to see those types of things. Or a service of the moon, and things like that. Now, something that is interesting, how some of the creatures will react to the moon, the cryptids, right? Like there's werewolves and things like that, of course, regular animals react to the moon. These cryptids have something in them to make them react to the moon even more so than a regular animal would. So these hybrids, either create in laboratories or some other kind of means, they got loose. So when they're around the moon, it made them turn into something that they wasn't too good. So that is very possible that the genetics of the cryptids are very mutated, either on purpose or by accident or whatever. Like the halo effect that the moon is giving off. It's really cool. Good. Everything's coming up the way it's supposed to. It's good. Yeah, I think the train adds a nice comment to the vibes of this place. There's times where people would go, become hobos, the term is, and tramps and stuff because they're trying to get a better life, and they're going from train to train, from different parts to try to get, because the Great Depression ruined everything, and people didn't really have a safety net, so they just were, on their own. So that's how they had those adventures, and a lot of people had a lot of problems from it, but that was something that they did back then. Their way of travel back then. They would go train the train. Yeah. Now with coal trains, they would have people used to pick up the charcoal and sell it for in wintertime. Those people needed it. And just people the trains are a little bit different now. They're more gasoline and some are electric. Yeah, back then they had lots of coal and they would shovel it into those things and those locomotives. But yeah, some trains today, specialized trains can do that, but it's not like how it was originally in its past. Just like the Titanic had a certain type of steam engine that produced a lot of smoke. They wouldn't have that now. They'd have some gasoline type ship, and the funnels wouldn't even produce anything. It would just be for a design. If it was recreated or built today, or they built the second one, that's what it would be like. They wouldn't have any coal coming from it. Here's a pumpkin plant. It's growing big. I could see where mythologies would, or tall tales or fairy tales would make these things into something, because these leaves get bigger and bigger and they just look like they just never stop growing. Now, whenever it sprouts a pumpkin, that's when it's time to, it's when it's time for it to be covered so it can be protected. So kinds of critters want to eat it. Not really a problem for these things that we have, bug nets for these. Tomato plant is getting really big right here. That's really good. Okay, I heard something. The raccoons might be starting to come out. Yep. I hear it moving. I was right. Might be a tree rat, maybe. Yeah, that's probably what it is. He's somewhere in there. Swamp puppy. He's moving around doing his thing. Scared. Doesn't seem like it's coming out. But yeah, there's definitely a swamp puppy. I see its eyes. Yep. Oh, there's two of them. Okay. Okay. Well, that's cool. We got to see him. Okay, so at that point, the moon is going higher up into the sky. At that point, right here. We got to see a raccoon sighting too. That was nice. You know, if the Americans really do play England, that would be really funny to see. I like that. Yeah. Yes, the moon has moved quite a bit. Okay. All right. Okay, so at this point in time, this moon stream is completed. We did what we were supposed to do with it. All right. So thank you all for coming to the Strawberry Garden Moon Live. It was very fun. And we got to see the banded puppy sightings, the raccoon sightings. All right. So take care, everybody. And peace.